There are literally hundreds of ways to make a paper flower, but one caught our eye because it is both delicate and realistic and so large, you can put just a few stems in a vase and call the whole darn thing a shot of spring. We're making feathery, fluffy flowers out of coffee filters with artist Melissa Esplin. Okay, Melissa, thanks for coming in. Tell us what your inspiration is on these.
So I had a girls' night out, and one of my friends brought coffee filters over. She had dyed them with watercolor paper, and we just kind of started having at it. And it just kind of went from there, yeah.
They're lovely, and the watercolor, like you said, is they absorb so well. It looks so pretty, almost a natural look. So where have you used these?
Everywhere. I use them for birthday parties, for Christmas decorations. I use them on my Christmas tree.
Okay, and that's a little unexpected because we're typically thinking kind of gold, sparkly. So how did you use them on your tree? Did you go with red? Did you go?
I went sort of with, my Christmas tree is white and very sparse and branchy, so I use this to kind of add more depth and more body to my tree.
Awesome. We're seeing this picture of it now, and I can see that looks beautiful. Kind of filled it out, put a little, like you said, depth to it, gave it some oomph. It's a lovely tree. So I wanted to ask you about how you've styled them here. They're so beautiful and a little unexpected. Yeah. Not your typical, I've seen a lot of these coffee filters in a big wreath. They're really pretty, fun for the front door. Yeah. But you've used them in some different unexpected ways. Yeah, so the wreath is a really fun idea. And the nice thing is, they're coffee filters, so they're very durable, but I've put them in a vase here, and I've also put them in a succulent plant. I've got succulents all over my house, and I don't always have blooming flowers, but when I want to do a little dinner party, I can just stick a few of them in there, and I feel like it just brightens up the room and adds so much to it. It really does. I mean, just that little shot of color in with the green and kind of the stark white, which we're seeing a lot of now. Yeah. Just these simple colors, simple shapes, and it softens that look so much. Yes. And color-wise, how do you choose what you're placing where? I just kind of wing it, and then I look back at it. I really am liking the peaches a lot more right now, just because they really go well with more masculine colors and feminine colors together. Yeah, and with the live plant. I mean, to put something that is made of paper with a live plant, really fun idea, and it gives it a whole new look. And then we see the wreath. Yeah. And your famous calligraphy. Yes. We love it. Can you tell us about the wreath, how you decided to just do the bottom part? And these you've got a few different looks on it. You've got one that looks more, kind of looks like a mum a little bit. So yeah, this I used with more fringe and less like flower petals. And I just really kind of clumped different groupings together just based on their size. And then I added a little calligraphy on there just to give it something fun, but just to show off your mad skills. Right, yeah. Those are looking good. Okay, so tell me what supplies we need. What supplies do we need to get one of these going in our own home? First off, coffee filters, naturally. We can do that. You can pretty much find everything here at the grocery store. Oh, this is my kind of project. Coffee filters, and in fact, I did this last minute project for my kids' class. And so I was at the grocery store, picked it all up, and we did it. So simple enough for kids to do. Yeah, some kind of wire. I like this jute wrapped wire because it gives it a more natural look. And then the wire can show and it doesn't look so weird. RIT dye, you can use the liquid dye or the powdered dye. The powdered dye gives it more of a granular textured color when you dye it, which is fun. And then... And how are you doing this? So I am putting it in... You know these bedpans that are gross from the hospital? I have a few of these from baby births and other they are the most useful things ever. I fill this up with steaming hot water, about 1 to 2 inches deep, so not very deep. Okay. Add a teaspoon to a couple tablespoons, depending on how saturated I want the color to be. And then I just put the filters in here. And if you put a few of them, like 25 to 50 in at a time, you get this awesome variation like this, where you get this ombre look. So now, if you're doing this, so let's say I'm doing it with these. I'm putting the water in here, and I'm literally you're just smashing it in there, and as it gets wet, it just blooms and opens. Okay. So and then you just lay it flat. I put it on my dryer with my heat vents yesterday, and they dried up in about 15 minutes. Okay. So, kind of a little ghetto solution, but you don't want to hit it with a blow dryer because then they're going to fly everywhere. Okay. So. good advice. No blow dryers on these. And are these, I mean, some of them look like you've done
I've done different
Yellow
colors.
and red?
Yes. So I originally dyed these yellow, and then I just kind of dipped the tips in with the red and just let it bleed while it was still wet. And so I just kind of did some fun different colors, because you do get a lot of variegation in natural florals anyway, so having that variety in color can really add some depth, and it allows you to change up the color of your center. So you can have, like over here, we have some green centers, some really dark centers, and that sort of adds more life to what the flower really looks like.
It is that really kind of that ombre effect that we see so much in style and clothes and home, everything. It's beautiful with these too, because I think you're right. Maybe we get those variations in nature. Very pretty. Okay, so show me how we do this. So we've dyed our papers. Where are we going?
Dyed our paper. We fold it up like we're gonna cut, you know, snowflakes.
Okay.
And then you want to cut, so there are two different cuts that you make. So there's one where you cut the large petals, which is, you can do it rounded or you can do it pointed. I like the pointed because it adds just kind of this fun sharpness to it. And then the second one, you cut into two pieces. So you can add that fringe to it.
Okay,
and then
this
you
is
cut
the
a
fringe
smaller
that we
piece.
saw on some of them on the wreath. Okay.
And then you cut the smaller piece. And I have like step-by-step instructions so you can see exactly how I cut it. But it's just, I cut these in two, and this is gonna be our center.
Okay.
And this is gonna add body to our flower. And then this is going to give it a little bit more size. You know, have it go out a little bit. So we're gonna start, I really like this liquid glass. I use hot glue, but my fingers are really tired of being burned.
We've all suffered those scars. Yes.
It's so painful. So I put a little bit of liquid glue right here in the middle.
Okay. And this is the innermost layer.
This is the innermost layer, and I'm putting my stem towards the outside here, and I wrap it and let it set, and then I pull the rest of this around. And then just
kind
keep
of
wrapping.
Backwards and underneath.
Yeah, and this just kind of creates that original like interior thing. And then I'll glue it once more in place.
Okay, and this is what
we get here.
Okay.
And then with this one's a little bit trickier. I like to pleat this bottom part a little bit. So you add more body to the bottom of the base of the flower.
So you're getting a little more bulk down there. It's not narrow.
We're getting.
This is where you're getting
bigger.
this size. Okay.
Yeah. So I add it, and I pinch with one finger, I wrap, and I pinch again, and then I glue.
Okay.
And so I'll just kind of keep going, and so I create these little pinches, which this is what you get here. See how I've pinched, and that creates just this outward volume here.
So this has, it's not a straight wrap. You're not pulling it tight at the bottom. You're kind of folding over.
This particular step is going to look super ugly at the bottom, but that's okay because that's why we have the third.
All right, let's see the third.
This is going to be what creates sort of the finishing touch. So you add some glue to the base of your slit. You slit these open.
Okay.
And then you just wrap it around your twine or your wire, and then you glue it to set it in place, and you're done.
Lovely.
So it's really quick.
Really, it is quite quick, surprisingly quick considering how bulky and pretty they are and how full of bloom. Tell us about your upcoming event.
I have an upcoming event with Natalie Malin where I'm teaching calligraphy, she's teaching watercolor florals, and it's an all-day retreat on Saturday, March 4th.
Oh, fun for the ladies. And your website where they can see this step by step?
MelissaEsplin.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Melissa. Those
Thanks for having me.